Hey, what's up, guys? This is KDCloudy, and it's been about more than 10 days since I posted my video saying that I'm returning the OnePlus 8 Pro. And yeah, as of filming this video, Amazon has successfully picked up my OnePlus 8 Pro after a lot of delays. But yeah, I'm yet to get my full refund. But yeah, as far as I'm concerned, I'm done with the OnePlus 8 Pro. But you know what? In my entire course of actually using this phone, it's been a bittersweet experience. Some things bitter, some things very sweet. So yeah, keeping all those things in mind, I have some things to say about the OnePlus 8 Pro. Now, talking about the build and design of the OnePlus 8 Pro, this thing is built with absolute premiumness and precision. Like when you hold it in your hand, this thing feels like a flagship because it is. Now, I would like to take back what I said about the size of this phone. In my first impressions video, I basically said that this is the perfect size for me, but honestly, I got small hands, and you know what? This phone has a screen of 6.67 inches, and that's big. That's a chunky monkey. And you know what? Especially at night, one-handed use can be a bit of a nightmare, and you know it's pretty heavy, despite it being so sleek. Now, one more nitpick which has to be addressed with regards to the industrial design is the curved screen edges or the glass melting over the edges of the phone. I did not think it would bother me at all. I mean, it's a premium looking thing, but it kind of did. Now, if you don't have a case or cover on your phone, you might be prone to accidental touches. And that's one thing. The other thing is distortion. When you're watching media, some stuff and content might get distorted because it's flowing over the edges. So yeah, I definitely don't think that curved edges on a phone screen have to add anything substantial to the experience, and I finally understand why people hate the curved edges so much. Now let's talk about the camera now. The camera on the OnePlus 8 Pro is really good. Now there is a set of 4 cameras, obviously, the main, the telephoto, the ultra wide, and the color filter camera, but by far the best performance was out of the main camera. It's a 48 megapixel sensor, and dynamic range from the stock camera app, the dynamic range and colors and the sharpness, everything was basically on point. Now, I did not test it a whole lot on like very challenging conditions. I mostly shot photos during the daytime, but yeah, in my limited testing, this thing turned out to be an absolute monster when it comes to clicking photos. Now, the photos coming out of the telephoto and ultra wide cameras, not as good as the primary camera, simply because you know there is some weird color at times, and also there's often this washed out look, which I mentioned in my Gcam video, and you can check that out if you're curious how Gcam performs in the OnePlus 8 Pro. And also video recording was also pretty good. Stabilization was on point, 4K 60, so smooth. And there's no 8K recording on this phone because it does not have a 108 megapixel camera. But yeah, the 4K 60 video was absolutely great. There was none of that grainy look, that grainy texture look, which a lot of Android phones have. So yeah, that was also really good to see. And I mean, I was really impressed by the video quality coming out of the OnePlus 8 Pro, and I just cannot imagine the video quality coming out of an iPhone, which is supposed to be even better. So yeah. Now, battery life, depending upon what type of refresh rate and resolution combo you have, might vary from pretty good to like awesome, excellent. Now, I did have my unit maxed out to like 120 Hz and Quad HD plus all the time, and with that I got through a full day with medium usage of, you know, consisting of data consumption and, you know, social media stuff, and I got about 5.5 hours of screen on time at best, which is okay. And you know what, you could probably kill it if you do anything graphically intensive. If you even play PUBG for a while, you will be able to kill it within a day. But even in that case, warp charging has got your back. Now, full disclosure, I did not use warp charging as much as I thought I would do ever since I got my wireless charger, thanks to my buddy Harsh from Technolobe. He was kind enough to send one of his spare chargers to me. So yeah, ever since I got into wireless charging, I never went back to wired charging at all. Like I said, I would easily last through the entire day, and before going to sleep, I would just prop the phone into the wireless charger, wake up next morning with a full 100%. and that kind of got into a habit, and definitely felt really cool and futuristic, not gonna lie. Performance had also been amazing with the Snapdragon 865 and 8 gigs of RAM and all that. And Oxygen OS had also been smooth and pretty much rock solid stable for me, unlike other people who have had some app bugginess and crashes. So I don't really know about that. But as far as my unit was concerned, with regards to performance, it worked pretty good. Then there are the little things, which make that flagship experience complete. Like finally, they added the IP68 certification, and that vibration motor is really high quality, which is to be expected out of a flagship phone. Then the speakers, the dual speakers, the stereo speakers are also really, really good. Very high quality audio coming out of those. And it supports Dolby Atmos, which is basically an equalizer. I don't think there is any virtualizer built in to give that spatial sound. More thoughts on that on a separate video about Dolby Atmos on smartphones in general, which nobody's gonna watch. So yeah, subscribe for that. Now finally, here we are. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, the display. Now the display of the OnePlus 8 Pro is easily the most controversial aspect of the entire phone. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you can check my last to last video where I outlined all of the display issues the OnePlus 8 Pro users are facing. And judging by the amount of DMs and comments that I'm getting, this seems like to be a pretty ongoing issue. Now what I would say is that OnePlus went way too ambitious with their intentions with the display of the OnePlus 8 Pro, like OLED, Quad HD Plus, 120 Hertz, a 10-bit panel, 1000 nits of brightness. I mean, it's a bit much. And when you look at the competition and the other two phones which offer the same type of display specs, like the Galaxy S20 and the Oppo Find X2, both of them are like 10 to 15,000 rupees more expensive and are not facing any of those issues. What is going on? Now, there have been a bunch of, conjecture and rumors and basically guesswork as to speculate what is exactly causing all of these issues. And the root of all these problems is still unknown. There hasn't been any official statement from OnePlus except them just brushing it off as a software problem, which is it's clearly not. But here is my opinion. The thing is that OLED technology is kind of tricky to work with, and depending upon who your vendor is and what type of calibration processes you use, what type of PWM controllers you use, there are so many variables and anything can go wrong, and it's very, very hard to get right. Even a company like Apple, there have been reports and people are complaining about PWM on their OLED iPhones. And the reason why Samsung's displays don't face any of these issues is because they make their own displays. They know their displays better than anyone else, and they probably use a much more comprehensive set of controllers and PWM controllers on a full-on comprehensive calibration process which nobody else uses. Who knows? And there is a possibility that OnePlus, in order to cut costs, cheapened out on some or the other process or some or the other component, leading to these issues. Which begs the question, are these cutting edge features on a display really worth it if you're sacrificing that basic rock solid stability which you might expect out of a display on a smartphone which costs 55,000 rupees? I mean, yes, I'm getting HDR10 plus, which I'm a sucker for. I'm getting that Quad HD plus, I'm getting that 120 hertz, but I'm skimping on things like color accuracy and basic quality control things which should be taken care of when I'm paying 55,000 rupees for a phone. And it's just unfortunate that this OnePlus 8 Pro, whose hardware is just impossible to hate, is facing all these issues, because the OnePlus 8 Pro was supposed to be the chosen Android flagship in 2020. You look at all the other flagships, some of the other phones have like a deal breaker. Samsung Galaxy S20 has an Exynos chip. The Mi 10, awesome phone, runs MIUI. The Oppo Find X2, the X2 Pro, awesome phone, excellent hardware, excellent display, runs ColorOS. The OnePlus 8 Pro was supposed to be this chosen one with the clean software and excellent hardware, all of these cutting edge specs. And you know what? I would be ready to pay like an extra 5,000-6,000 and if they actually promised a rock solid stable product and not have all of these display issues. And I mean, yes, you can argue that these display issues are very minor. You don't need to, you're using it wrong. You don't need to use your phones at such a low brightness level. I mean, kind of true. But if you're saying all that, you're kind of settling for a mediocre product, which is pretty ironic for a phone whose box all over says never settle. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Cheers.